And then on Wednesday the 27th, our last interview of the year, we have Katrina Creed. So December is heating up, even though it's fucking cold.
You ain't kidding here. Ooh.
I know. I
But
mean, I have to wear socks with my sandals. It's so inconvenient.
oh god, I I I love the cold. Not from the outside, but from the inside of my apartment.
I mean, yeah, you get to drink cocoa and soup.
Mm, ah, I wish my dad hadn't given away the Keurig.
I think we're done putting ourselves over.
I would say so.
So we shall be saying it's a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with the news. And we will be talking all things Pepsi Phil when we do our review of Survivor Series in a bit. But we will be starting with how Pepsi Phil got fired from AEW. Because it was rumor and innuendo suggest that Bryan Danielson is a part of this committee that got
Yeah.
um,
Hey.
him fired.
Uh. Uh. What type of friggin' committee? Disciplinary committee.
Right.
Like, why? Why is I wrestlers should not be in that role because you could say no, you could say everything that you could say that you're impartial, you have no bias. That's clearly bullshit. You you absolutely have a bias, especially when you're someone like Bryan Danielson and the past he's had with CM Punk.
Have they have a bad history with each other?
It it's why we didn't get so many matches between them. We got like two main events out of it.
In
Uh,
WWE?
yeah, and I still think both of those matches did not live up to either two's name. Um, but again, it's just not something that a wrestler should be a part of making a decision. That's like a lot. That's like actually performing a wrestler's court.
I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, you're kind of right about that. You know, it, ironically enough, Bryan Danielson gave more of a corporate answer than Tony Khan did when it comes to CM Punk. Very nice, very professional, very evil. Um, but I get what you mean. If, for instance, if this was Eddie Kingston, who clearly has issues with Daniel Bryan, would Bryan Danielson, I should say, be the one to discipline Eddie if he had issues with him? And could you objectively believe Bryan if he dealt out punishment? Not to say that he's the last person that between Tony and punishment, but could you really give him? Would you really say that he would suggest something fair for Eddie? You know what I mean?
Uh, yeah. Considering that Punk has announced on air in AEW that there are only three wrestlers named Eddie that he respects, and after Eddie Guerrero, the second one was Eddie Kingston. Um,
Who's the third?
I mentioned this in uh, the interview. It's it's not a well known Eddie. It's
Oh, Eddie Edwards?
no. Let me see if I can.
Hmm. Well, continue your thought.
Uh, so I do not believe Daniel Bryan would be impartial. Uh, um, Eddie Vegas.
Eddie Vegas. Okay.
Uh, yeah, he said Punk said Kingston was the third best Eddie he ever shared a ring with.
Do you, because it does seem like Brian is going to continue being on this disciplinary committee. Is this going to get him heat and issues with the rest of the locker room?
Um, I don't know, quite honestly. Um, I do know it is potentially soured him uh, on uh, ever making a return to the WWE.
You might be right about that.
Yeah, he is persona non grata after doing that because WWE is part of a huge tradable financial group, and having something like that happen is bad for intrinsic value, and it's bad for overall value as the shareholders that might be familiar with Danielson, but not quite. Uh, that would piss them off, and then we'd probably see also a massive sellback of shares.
Well, speaking of somebody, maybe not going back to WWE, to somebody that may be having a partnership in the near future, that's QT Marshall. And
Yes.
he resigned from AEW. He said that he wore every hat that
Yep.
AEW gave him. It was a great time, but now it's time to walk away because he didn't necessarily share the view of the company in 2023. Um, that being said, he is, well, he's not the owner of the night. He's the head coach of the Nightmare Factory, which is with another guy. I don't know if people know what his name is. Cody Rhodes, who is currently a WWE star. You know, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does, and and Cody says he 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 wouldn't object to having QT, uh, on staff, um, but I completely understand uh, where QT is coming from. They've gone from rap class featuring Har- by Harley Cameron featuring Harley Cameron. Um, that's a that's a weird thing to say to begin with. But we've gone from that to chin up, tips out, and watch for that ass.
What? Watch for the shoe.
Yes, but after Full Gear, how did Tony win? With a clearly loaded ass. I mean, it wasn't even hidden that well. It was literally noticeable.
Yes.
Uh, yeah,
I
so
mean, that's not QT's fault.
I, uh, I know. I'm making an example of what of something that happened while he was there to something that happened probably because he was not around. Um, the the dirt rags are indicating that uh, MLW has shown interest in QT Marshall, uh, uh, as well as they signed one of our previous guests. No, no, I take that back. She signed with Impact. Sam Laterna. Uh,
Yeah, shout out to Sam. She was previously on MLW.
yes, that's
But, you know, I can't really speak to QT Marshall as, a wrestler and if he's necessarily desired. Everything he really did in AEW, from a wrestler standpoint, I'm sorry, it failed miserably. He was never considered anything major. Um, Whether or not he decides to take a step back from, actual pro wrestling and just focus on the coaching, yet to be seen. I think WWE would absolutely take him as a coach if that was the case. Um, but as a wrestler, I don't know if he would really be valued to anybody to impact to MLW.
yeah. I really don't think MLW will benefit at all from saying, "Oh, we have QT Marshall as part of our training staff." I can see the WWE making him a road agent.
Absolutely.
Yeah, um, I could even possibly see him becoming yeah Shawn Michaels' number one guy
Hmm. In
in
NXT.
NXT. Yeah, because Shawn really needs somebody to play off of, and when QT is not wrestling, the man is the man is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I could agree with that. But I mean, what is that? What does it speak to AEW that somebody like QT Marshall, who seems like a pretty loyal guy, if you ask me, he sticks to whoever is does well by him, and then somebody like him ups and leaves because he doesn't necessarily like the way the company is going. How does that really? What does that tell you about the direction that AEW is going in?
I think it simply tells him that AEW is trying to spark some sort of attitude era, and it's not exactly working, but QT has always been a smart person in this business, um, and QT probably realized it before the rest of us that AEW was heading towards something that uh, really would not benefit him anymore, especially since he was on screen with a group that doesn't even get used anymore.
Right.
Uh, you know, we haven't seen Aaron Solo in God knows how long.
Since
We
Bloody
haven't seen
Leslie.
Harley. Uh, we haven't seen Harley in a while. We haven't seen Johnny TV.
Well, I mean, Harley Cameron is obviously in an LGBT educative class because you clearly can't tell when somebody's gay. Um, and Johnny took his TV to the repair shop, obviously.
Because the last thing we need is another season of him on Survivor.
You don't even remember him on Survivor.
Oh, I do, I do. That was during the time when I was uh, working for CBS as a Big Brother correspondent.
Well, and then obviously there's Anthony Agogo, who a go goed away.
Oh God, I completely forgot he existed.
So did everybody else. Thank me for reminding you. Um,
We got well in a little bit we're probably going to get much more sadder.
should we get into the very, very sad news of Sunny? No more sunny days, as
Yeah, she was sentenced to how many years?
17 years in prison and 8 years probation.
Uh, do you think they'll let me have conjugal visits?
You know, it does seem like Sunny is not the best of person. Never necessarily has been, in all honesty. But when you're only hurting yourself, that's one thing. But when you hurt people around you, that's a different thing. And then you become, a danger to everybody. I do
Yeah,
hope that during this time that she's in
she finds
prison,
her.
that
Yeah,
maybe she will be able to turn her life around in some way, realize the mistake she's made, and maybe come out of it the better end.
You know, I had a crazy thought in that Sunny exploiting who she used to be might actually help her out in this situation. If she, plays off her years as a manager, that might increase her prison cred.
Maybe.
Uh,
Um, from somebody that's getting locked up to somebody that just got locked up in a different way. Alexa Bliss has given birth.
yes, congratulations to Alexa Bliss and Ryan Cabrera. Now give us Alexa back.
We need our Alexa Bliss back.
Oh, for the love of God, we need her back.
Congratulations to them on doing that thing. Um, then we have interesting bit of news. Mitchell
Yep,
got released
that,
from WWE.
that was my sad part. Uh, WWE and Endeavor are reportedly seeking to cut 50 million to 100 million in expenses from the WWE. UFC did this at the beginning of the merger. Um, yeah, Mckenzie Mitchell, uh, which honestly was a shock because I actually thought she was good. Uh, she's also married to one half of the NXT commentary team, Booker T. I mean Vic Joseph. Uh,
Really?
yeah.
Did not know that.
There was it was like 2 weeks where he wasn't there because he actually went on a honeymoon.
Interesting.
But what's so odd about this is that these cuts are not coming from the talent side. They're coming from the corporate side. Uh, uh, Layoffs from the finance department, sales and partnerships, human relations, and production. Uh, Several employees at the senior vice president level let go, including Michael Weitz of financial planning, head of global sales and partnerships, Craig Stimmel, controller and chief accounting officer, Karen Mullane, streaming technology SVP, Stuart Fry, and gaming SVP, Matt Geyer.
For me,
So,
for me, it sounded like you said that they were cutting seniors.
uh, so uh, you could probably say that too, quite honestly. Um, but it uh, people are surprised that these releases, which are known to happen in two parts of the year. It's
Right after Mania.
right after Mania and between Christmas and the Rumble. Um, and what is surprising is that so far none of the in-ring talent has has been released, um, and this is not to raise the money for Pepsi Phil's contract. Um, this there there will be more corporate cuts uh, before the weekend is out.
Well, speaking, just about Mackenzie, it did seem like she had, a better personality than some of the other, correspondents that WWE had. But unfortunately, she never really got to show it because she was primarily on what their Twitch stream. So
No, you're thinking of Megan Morant.
maybe.
Megan Morant is always on the Talking Smack or Talking Raw. The internet shows after.
Well, I mean, either way, it does. Clearly, they have way too many correspondents. Um, they're obviously not going to get rid of Jackie because she just literally signed like a couple months ago. And who would want to fire Kathy Kelly again? Um,
Nah.
I mean, Kayla Braxton has that repertoire with Paul Heyman, so you can't get rid of her. So, I mean, it was kind of who has the short end of the stick.
And but uh, there's another female talent, female interviewer. Or is that Jackie?
Probably Jackie.
There's now so many of them. I can't think.
We're being joined by Tequila Calico.
Tequila. What? You said tequila or killa?
No, Tequila Calico.
I mean, well, we'll get there. I'll get there soon enough. What is going on, my man, Scooter?
Uh, Nice to hear from you, my man.
Likewise, especially towards this time of the year.
Yep.
Now, Calico, can you tell us about your thoughts on Mckenzie Mitchell, correspondent for WWE, getting released?
Uh, is it really like a big deal?
I mean, considering the conversation I just had with Scooter, it doesn't
I
necessarily seem like it.
it would. This is her release is, in my opinion, the start of future talent releases.
There is something that they said there was like low key 100 employees in corporate got cut, and no one's
Uh,
really saying that.
uh, I believe what you're referring to is they wanted to cut 50 mil. Endeavor wanted to cut 50 million to $100 million in expenses. Uh,
Which is weird that they want to merge and then, oh yeah, let's cut these expenses.
Most likely because they want Endeavor will probably fill any of those positions that are deemed essential with their own people, and and that ends up coming out of Endeavor's pocket and not the WWE.
True, because of the fact that, and plus the positions they might probably already had got some overlap, so they don't want to. I get it.
Well, another interesting
I,
bit. Oh, continue.
I mean, the bump to me. Who really watches the bump? I've never heard anyone go, "Yeah, I can't wait to watch the bump."
As I
If
said,
it was about the hump, a different story.
Unless it pertained to Alexa Bliss, but those days are now over.
It's not watch the baby bump, and
That
Well,
is true.
speaking of another bump, maybe a bump in the road, Dixie Carter made was spotted backstage for Raw in Nashville. She was a guest of Bruce Pritchard. We haven't heard about Dixie in pro wrestling in quite some time. I
uh,
believe she's completely out of the picture, but
yes, the last time she had done anything, it was that AJ Styles special.
right. So I mean, she doesn't necessarily have any horse in the race at this point. Do you see Dixie Carter possibly getting some type of job with
Fuck
WWE?
no, 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 no. Well, bro, next question. Next
Well,
goddamn question.
well, you know, I could honestly see uh, Dixie being a candidate for the Hall of Fame.
Really? I
I
In
mean,
the TNA Hall of Fame? It's damn sure it's the WWE.
it, because she was, one of I believe the first uh, majority owner of a wrestling company, first female majority owner of a wrestling company. Uh,
she did do some character work on the show as well. She is EC3's aunt.
and not anymore, buddy.
I mean, he's still Ethan Carter the third, EC3.
Now he's Ethan Copeland,
He's Edge's son.
uh, more attractive younger brother.
You find EC3 more attractive than Edge?
I
Edge,
mean,
Edge is
and
pushing
yeah,
50,
I
man.
mean, he's half his age. Come on. I mean,
I don't know. I think Edge looks better than EC3.
One wrong bump for Edge and career over.
What does that have to do with his looks?
Uh, uh damn it. And let's also not forget that AEW is giving away the candy store uh, by announcing Adam Copeland and Christian Cage will take place next week on Dynamite.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that. Ooh,
You know, just when you think that they do something smart, they fuck it up. But, what was I getting at? It might, obviously, that match will be taking place on Warner Brothers TV, but maybe in the future it won't, because one of the people bidding for WWE programming next year is Warner Brothers. Um, it is rumored and innuendoed, strongly believed that WWE will be on FX next year. I don't think FX has ever had pro wrestling.
yes, they have. They had Impact.
No,
mm-hmm.
that was Spike. Paramount.
No, they also had Impact after Spike was gone. And then it was And then after that, it was AXS until the pandemic.
I feel like USA is maybe more accessible than FX, but I could
Uh,
be wrong about that.
no, I'd agree with you. The way that the medium of cable television is evolving, um, it's gonna get to a point where it's actually going to be, oh, now you can just choose which channels you want. Because uh, the streaming services like Pluto, Freevee, uh, Samsung TV Plus, that has all the niche stuff. It's I'm kind of surprised that the only promotion that has taken advantage of this is TNA. They're no longer Impact.
That's right. What say you, Kaliko? What are your thoughts on WWE potentially being on FX next year?
I mean, it would be harder to find. I mean, that's good for me because I guess I could watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia right after. Maybe that would be that would be the that would be the plus, right? I get the best of both worlds there, but we'll believe it when we see it. I always thought, I mean, USA in itself was kind of a keep in mind back in our day used to be kind of a premium channel hard to find. USA,
Was always part of basic cable.
but it's always part of basic cable. FX, I'm not sure is always part of most people's basic cable.
It used to be a premium channel, but then you had FXX
And yeah, FXX and FXXXX and Triple X and
and
F Triple
yeah,
X is a completely different
yeah.
channel entirely.
I, I'm I'm
I'm just saying.
surprised that uh, in that conversation that Fox Sports One isn't up for consideration.
Would WWE consider Fox Sports rather than Fox Sports 1 simply for the fact
It's
that it's
it's
just another.
Because they don't consider it a sport.
Right.
Remember when they tried to like do that whole thing with football and pro wrestling? Nah, that shit was not popular.
I
People know the difference.
I
20 years, 30 years ago, you might have got away with that.
I I say regardless with SmackDown being on with SmackDown moving to USA, uh, I think it's very clear that Raw is gonna stay on SmackDown. What I would like to see is if the WWE actually managed to get a actual television network for themselves.
I mean, they had their own network. They took it.
Yes, but only if you're outside the U.S.
Yeah,
Uh,
Canada.
and if you try to watch it on Peacock, it's always the best of WWE this, the best of WWE that, the best of WWE getting hit by a wiffle ball bat. Uh,
True.
so they may as well just get in on the ground floor of being the first company to actually have a dedicated cable channel for it, uh, and that way, that would be a money that would be a money maker. That would almost be guaranteed revenue.
I mean, then it wouldn't. I would think it would only be WWE content on there, considering Endeavor and whatnot. UFC's a part of that.
Well,
Nah, ESPN is not playing that shit. Yeah, like the WWF, the WWE side for sure. The UFC part,
uh,
the only because the only way you can watch UFC is ESPN, ESPN Plus, or the UFC Network if you're overseas. But that's about it.
and uh, technically, Warner Brothers Discovery is part of Disney Plus and part of Max. Uh, HBO's streaming. Uh, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing, an actual, you know, combat sports programming, division. Hell, let's get another run of American Gladiators. Why not?
I
Bring
mean,
back
I still
Nitro.
watched it.
I had an action figure of Nitro.
I used to have the game on Super Nintendo.
Uh,
I was into that shit.
uh, the
I was into that shit.
Yeah, the version on the regular Nintendo was a pain in the ass.
Yes, yeah, it was.
Back to pro wrestling because we got sidetracked there. Just to feed into rumor and innuendo a little bit. What if Warner Brothers takes WWE on an offer? What happens to AEW?
I mean, they just have to play nice, unless Warner Brothers put them on a whole different plane.
Do you
I mean,
think that Warner Brothers would completely drop AEW, or you think that they would hold the competition with having the biggest wrestling organization in the world?
I'm not sure Warner Brothers is interested in them to begin with, let alone interested in them and completely dropping AEW, because for however much we jest about Tony Khan, and that's about 99% of the time. That remaining 1% is somebody who knows how to negotiate contracts when he's not kissing ass.
Yes. That, yep. I mean, he negotiated probably, and plus he's experienced with it. He's been negotiating with football players for shit the last several years, salaries and shit. So he knows how to come to a happy medium. If there's nothing else, he knows that.
Okay. Well, I mean, it was the ones that were interested with Warner Brothers, FX, and something we've talked about in the past, Amazon, which maybe not. We'll see.
If it ends up being on Amazon, it's gonna be free to watch.
It would have to be, right?
Yeah,
I'm
but
Yeah, because I mean, it's a pain in the ass just to get the prime for football.
And there's not a lot of ways to measure the amount of viewers. You would have to have it running side by side with an incoming traffic filter to you know uh separate all the incoming connections into their rightful places, and uh not not repeats for anybody who's using someone else's account. That's the toughest thing with Amazon.
Well, we shall see what happens going forward. Our last bit of news has to do with Ric Flair and some
Oh God.
and
For
something
real?
he wrote on I believe it was Twitter. Um, Maybe it was reposted. I'm not quite sure, but I'll
Him
read
asking.
what he said, and I quote. I am so tired of hearing all of this negativity. I don't need to walk and I don't need the money. Can't I simply enjoy being by my dear friend Sting's side for the last few months without so much hatred? I know I'm old, but that doesn't mean I can't enjoy life. I have earned the right to do whatever I want, and I'm exactly where I want to be. I appreciate everything Tony Khan has. It just says Tony Khan, but I'm more than willing to walk away if I'm embarrassing you in your company. All I can say is I'm sorry.
Well, you know, that statement is one thing, especially after on live fucking television you would invite the age range of 18-year-old girls to 28-year-old girls to your hotel room. Didn't
At least they're adults.
didn't specify an amount either.
Oh God, he did this on AEW TV.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say about Ric Flair. He loves the pussy. If he can find it, that is.
Oh, he can find it. Trust
I
me.
mean, there was a time when Ric Flair could go down on a girl and just woo her into an orgasm.
And now he could barely get woo energy drink down his own throat.
Wow, y'all are just.
I kind of felt bad for him until you mentioned what you just mentioned, and now it's just, yeah, I'm back to where I was.
Yeah, that response was in response to what Flair said.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I will give him the benefit of the doubt of the fact that he is old enough to where he could be saying worse, and people really won't think twice about it. So I'll give him that much.
you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Ric Flair is behind the recent Israel Palestine conflict.
Will you stop it?
Hey, I'm part of the people that are afraid to showcase their religion because of all that crap.
And on that, we shall end the news. And now, a quick word from our sponsors.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.